So, again, hello, my name is Dieter Große-Lühmann. As a hobby, I work as a photographer. I took pictures of 1,000 people, about more than 1,000 people at the Documenta 15 in Kassel. I will give you the link on a separate photograph where you can see them all, or nearly all. But the intention with this video is to give a report to make public severe human rights violations of Germany, even in the last years, and things that the German authorities by all means try to cover up. Many people might have seen me running around with this camera at the Documenta. I asked all people for permission that I can take their picture and make them public. The reason for doing this is I need to do something else, not only to think about the horrible things I encounter in my life organized by German authorities, and I need something else to keep healthy. Okay. With the Documenta there was kind of scandal. I didn't follow it clearly, precisely, about Jewish symbols contained in pieces of art at the Documenta. I was not so much interested in that, but I know that the German political posture to this, excuse my bad English, is very hypocritical, and it's not true that we are a democratic state. I know more about this, and I know more about the real structure behind the official, the facade. I know myself that a Jew who was in prison in 2015 in a prison close to Bielefeld, he was set under gas. I can know because I was in the same prison at the time. I was never convicted. I never saw a judge. I was in prison for 3 months because the authorities tried to force a declaration of me that I wasn't able to give because I didn't know the facts, and I knew they would do dirty tricks, so I couldn't make any declaration to leave the prison. Not only the Jew was set under gas. Set under gas means that, in my case, it happened to me as well, and another guy, Stefan Basler was his name. The first name I'm not so sure about anymore. I've written it down. There are 3 cases that I know. During the night, gas is pumped into your room, in your prison cell, and I cannot know what is the aim, to kill somebody probably, or to make him stupid, an idiot, because of lack of oxygen, to terrorize the people, to menace people. They don't tell me, but I know in my case it was officially controlled. I was under a control, 50-minute control, because I had said I have no suicidal intentions, but I'm afraid that the authorities might make people believe that I might have killed myself. You see, I'm still alive. I was set under gas for 4 or 5 nights. If I already know 3 cases, there will be many cases, and there seems to be in the jail Umlostraße 100 in Bielefeld. There seems to be a preferred prison cell for doing this. Also, there was all electrical things were blocked, and there have been taken precautions, and the authorities knew about it because I told them they don't want to know. If your eyes are your pupil is very tiny, they don't want to see it. If your fingers are blue because you have no oxygen anymore in your toes, seems to die. Toes. They are not interested. Even medical help is often verweigert, not allowed, for example at the weekend. So if you may arrive innocently in this prison and you might die from something because they don't like to help you and you have no testimonies. People where you're around you are afraid to criticize the authorities because they are afraid they might be convicted harder. But I was not convicted of anything, and there was no accuse against me. They just wanted some information that I could not give. Even later, no, that's not important in the moment. The Jew who was in jail, his name was Süleyman. He was he lived in Turkey. I don't know why he was in Germany. I don't know why he was in prison. And he told me secretly that his uncle is a diplomat called Sultan. Probably that was David Sultan, born in Cairo, ambassador of Israel to Turkey. But I'm not sure about that. There's another Sultan who is in the diplomatic service of Germany, unfortunately. Okay, I believe if I already know 3 cases, there will be many others. Also, I have strong indications that people are killed around me. The killing is prepared with the help of the authorities. An aunt of mine was seemingly killed by a medicine, and how to say, so you don't. That helps you not to get that you can't breathe anymore. Bunondol is the medicine. But it might as well be possible, but less probably, that she died from hunger or she was not given anything to drink. She was old and in bed, and the authorities organized that she had to stay in bed. And the authorities before, when I lived with this person, was a testimony that they tried to make her dement by heavy metal in the water. The authorities knew about it, but everywhere where I told about it, I met closed ears, and they didn't want to know. The main responsible seems to be Sven Georg Adenauer. Adenauer is the grandson of the first German chancellor. Maybe he believes that with his name he can permit himself every crime. Maybe he's doing this for many years, but not only he seems to be involved, even with the vanishing of Mrs. Oetker. Mrs. Oetker from the food company, international food company. I heard that she has vanished. I don't know the details. Maybe she just wanted to live somewhere else, but it seems to be more serious. And often people in Germany, they disappear in psychiatric institutions. Nobody in the family likes to talk about it. Often they profit even from the situation, and they lose all their fortune. She was said to be rich, and later there was no talk about that anymore. And she was together with a friend of Sven Georg Adenauer. His name is Hans Scholleck. Hans Scholleck is a former neighbor of me in St. Vith. It's a part of Reda Wiedenbrück. Reda Wiedenbrück is close to Bielefeld. And even Sven Georg Adenauer, he lived on the former ground of my family. He was a distant neighbor of me until I informed his wife about what he is doing and what she might please check to find out about the reasons why there criminal things are happening. And later I heard that shortly after he didn't live with his family anymore. He lived in a one-room apartment in Wiedenbrück. So I believe she kicked him out, or his family kicked him out. I believe his wife is a journalist. The crimes that are committed here are, in fact, the how do you say, executive, the government, I call it the authorities. They even give order to the court what to do to act against people. And the court, in a democracy, it should be independent. They present themselves as not being independent. They do exactly what the authorities want them to do. And so if they want to fight against a testimony that's unpleasant for the authorities, a whistleblower. I feel myself like a whistleblower because I know many things about the German authorities, what criminal things they are doing, even in an Auschwitz trial, different Auschwitz trials. The court helps to fight against testimonies. Declare people insane when they write about it, and they have their work is usually to help people if they have mental problems, for example, or and if people need help. But if they fight against testimonies, they even admit the judges themselves. I have a protocol where it's written. They admit that they want to work against these people. In my case, for example, I have it in written. They can't more clearly prove that they don't want to follow the law. And the tricks they use is they make trials where you don't get the transparent trials that look good in the folder, but in fact you don't get the letters, you don't get the verdict, and all these things. You can't correct false declarations against you because they don't let you know it. And the court themselves, they order what lawyer you have to take. In fact, as long as you're not declared insane, it's your own right to look for a lawyer that you trust. Even that is prohibited. They take a lawyer from your enemies. Excuse my English. I believe people who are interested, they won't bother much about that. I spoke about my aunt, who seemingly has been killed with a medicine. All this I knew that she was in danger before. I spoke to the authorities before. Nobody wanted to know. Even Andre Cooper, who is now the head of the president of the parliament in North Rhine-Westphalia in Düsseldorf, he didn't want to hear about it. He sent me to Ralf Brinkhaus, who was a high political person in the CDU in Berlin. He ran away when I wanted to give him information about crimes here. They're both CDU, but also other parties are involved. About the Green Party, I don't know up to now. I wouldn't know in the moment. So there's a certain hope that the Green Party, who is now part of the government, might help to stop the cover-up of these crimes. The son of my aunt, he tried to get a grip on her real estate as well. For this reason, he had wanted to be adopted. He was adopted, and when he found out, it seems that when I found out about that he stole things of her, he became very nervous, and other people, the authorities that worked together with him, he was a high official himself. All they seem to have become nervous. His dead corpse was found in the North Sea. He was seemingly drowned. He did not drown, it's my opinion, because it all happened after I gave a hint to the police that he had stolen money from my aunt. And he works together with a big group of other peoples, and the authorities still try with dirty tricks to transfer real estate that with the time, as far as I know, will be worth about because 50 million euros, that they hope they can, with dirty tricks, let it end up in his family. And even in that trial, the lawyers of their side, they are lying, they are doing dirty tricks, and they are working illegally. The lawyers in Germany, most people in Germany won't have this problem, but in Germany many lawyers in politically sensitive cases, they do every dirty trick. They might show up in court in your name without your mandate, do as if they work in your mandate, just do dirty tricks. Maybe they think they will make more money like this and they are better paid by anybody. And even they did try, like for example Alexander Knöbel, a lawyer in Reda Wienbrück. He went to court without me knowing to stop an accused at the police against Sven-Georg Adenauer, in which I made clear that he seems to have been part of a gang that has killed my aunt. A friend of mine, Gerd Ilkner aus Reda, he had loaded up a report, Mord WD. You can find it in PicTrop. I might, on a separate paper in German, I might give the link. He loaded up a paper with a report, and soon after that I told him that he is courageous, and soon after that he seems to have been killed as well. He had blood on his head, on the backside of his head, and he was in intensive care in the Vincent's Hospital in Reda Wienbrück, a hospital that did other dirty things before against me. It's too long to explain everything. And they said, they hadn't seen it, and he has died from it. And he was flown by helicopter to Bielefeld, what I regard as trying to cover up who is responsible for this. The police is under control of Sven-Georg Adenauer. He's the chief of police here in the Kreis Gütersloh, which has about 300,000 people. There are many, maybe 180 Kreise in Germany. That's a district. And he's also head of the administration here. Before my aunt was killed, the people under Bürgermeister Sunder, he's a follower of André Cooper that I spoke about before, he helped to separate her from people that tried to help her, to separate her from testimonies who might help her. I believe this happens very often, and not only in these cases. I might tell many more cases, but in English that's too complicated for me. So if you are interested in this, I recommend you to look at my videos in YouTube. Search term Dieter Groh. How do you spell it? I write it down. I spell it like this. I hope you can see this. And I went to the press. The press doesn't want to know. And even big journals they are nervous not to come to know. They do everything they can. And I was informed by a lawyer that that's typical. And sometimes the press makes scandals public. But that's like doing as if they are used to do this. So that people believe, we have a free press, which in fact doesn't exist in the sense. I don't want to say that every lawyer works in a dirty way. I know one who was very correct, but he works with other lawyers. They tried to separate me from contact with him. When I tried to send an email, they immediately blocked the email address.